Today, I want to show you simple framing and camera angles that will instantly make your videos feel and look more intentional without necessarily needing to go to a film school. But don't get me wrong, film school is good, but this one starts right now. For those of you who have been following this series, in previous episodes, you've already learned camera settings, lighting, and audio settings, and so on and so forth. Link to previous episode below just in case you haven't seen those. But now, it's time to learn something equally important: how to compose your shot. Because people don't only watch what you say, they also respond to how your visuals make them feel. And the good thing is, you do not need any expensive gear to apply this. What is framing? Framing is simply what you choose to include in your camera view. Let's see it as you have a whole window frame. Whatever enters that window frame helps to tell your story. And whatever is out of it does not exist to your viewer. And this is why two creators can stand in the same room and one video feels professional while the other feels random. Now let's get into it proper. Wide shot. Wide shot establishes the environment. They answer where we are per time. Needless to even try to explain where I am because the clip already did that for me, right? They actually focus more on the situation and the environment. For instance, if you're filming your workspace, a street, your office, your studio, or even a cooking setup, you want to start with a wide shot first. It quickly gives an established context for what you're shooting. Sometimes you can use a shot like this to create depth. I have a foreground and I have a background. I am in focus. The background is probably a little bit blurry, and then so is the foreground. So all of these elements come together to actually give the clip some depth. And that really adds to the quality of the story you're trying to tell with your visual. Medium shots. Medium shots are usually the most common type of shots that you see, and they're usually from waist up or chest up. This is what I use mostly for talking head videos, kind of like what you're watching right now. It would be referred to as a medium shot. But there are a bit of variations to that. With such variations, you can either get creative or keep it simple. It's not a hard and fast rule. But it is good to know and understand the rules first before you break them. This is a type of a medium shot. I used to think that this was a close-up shot too. Now you know, close-up. With close-up shots, details are captured. Yeah, this is an example of a close-up shot. It's usually very tighter and intimate, you know, but I feel like the close-up shot doesn't really flatter me that much, as it has the tendencies to make things look a little bit distorted. As you can see, usually big lips, wide nose, and bigger eyes. It has its own effect on your clips, you know, if you will. But here's your close-up shot. Very tight, intimate. This is detailed storytelling. Fingers pressing record, camera turning dial. These actually add production value pretty fast. Sometimes one tiny little detail add more emotions than a wide shot, capturing expressions and reactions to events and fine details in moments that would have passed without you paying attention. And that's what close-up shots do. And this is why close-up create intimacy. They make viewers feel closer to the moments that they are watching through the screen. If everything is wide and everything is close-up and everything is medium, no variation to the shots, and it makes your video boring. I have my camera mounted on a tripod meters away from me, right on the rooftop. This is a wide angle shot, and this would be a medium shot. How about a close one? Now let's talk about angles, because camera height changes emotion. Your subject, or if you are the subject, when you're filming and you set your camera to look upward to your subject feels stronger, more powerful, eminent, more important. And this is also referred to as a hero shot. You know, sometimes you really need to take it out of your comfort zone to be able to get the kinds of shots that your story needs. You know, you might want to go to a park, like in this case, I'm going to be doing some shoots in the park. I have my storyboard ready to get all the shots that I need. High angle. When the camera looks downwards while filming the subject looks smaller, vulnerable, uncertain, and powerless. This angle changes psychology instantly. Sometimes I feel it when I preview a video that I have shot. If that wasn't the point intended, then I feel strange with what I see when I preview the clip. You can begin to see how framing and angles can mean volume in your shoot when you do shoot these videos. Trust me, your audience would feel these angles emotionally, even if they don't realize it conscientiously at first. Overhead shots. Overhead shots simply create structure. They are perfect for deck setup tutorials. I use this a lot because sometimes I do overhead shots. You probably have seen a lot of overhead shots in my videos here. These angles simply make videos feel organized. Profile shots. Profile shots add dimensions to your project. Instead of always facing the camera directly like I'm doing right now, turn slightly sideways. This creates lovely depth to your shots. It's very, very useful for storytelling, reflective movements. This would be like a profile view. You might be talking in this direction. You may not be necessarily talking straight to the camera. You can be talking to this angle right here, and it just makes things a little bit more interesting to watch. These are some of the composition mistakes that you might wish to avoid. Too much empty headroom, unless of course you are aiming for that deliberately. Let the background breathe by tidying up. Don't leave clutter behind you when you shoot. Distracting background is a no-no. You don't want to have all kinds of distracting elements in the background of your clips. So what you want to do is that take some time and fix the background so you don't have stuff all over the place. So a typical example of a distracting background would be this. But in the event that you don't have control over what your background is at the time of your shoot, I'll show you exactly what to do. Move away from the background completely. If I refocus here, what you want to do is achieve a certain depth. Your background is blurry. If your background becomes blurry, then you would have succeeded toning down that distraction, supposing you can't do anything about what your background is at the time of your shoot. Make sure your camera is well positioned. If you need to mount your camera on a tripod or your phone on a tripod, go ahead and do that, and don't allow the camera to be positioned too low from your subject. Subject centered all the time. Sometimes it leads to boredom. You don't want your subject to be consistently in the middle of the frame. If this happens to be something that you cannot avoid at the time you were shooting, then you want to fix that in post-production by moving your subject around in the frame in a very creative manner. To fix this, this would be my simple approach. Move your subject or move yourself slightly off the center of the frame. And then when you turn on the grid of your camera or the grid on your phone, and that is going to help you to frame correctly and properly. So in addition to all I have talked about so far, you want to capture certain details about your location to add to your context. So how I achieve that is I scout around in a location and I take shots of very interesting elements on location. You want to mount your camera or your smartphone on a tripod, lower it, and then angle it upward. You see how I'm angled in the corner? I'm still somewhat centered, but I am not particularly centered, but I am angled in the left corner of the frame. If you're new here, every of this episode will leave at least one challenge for you to practice what you have learned so far. Challenge number 1, shoot a scene 5 ways: wide angle, medium shot, low angle, and overhead angle. Watch them back. You notice how each one of the angles feel. Challenge 2, watch a scene or create a scene that you like. Pause it for a second, watch it closely, and try to recreate that scene. Start paying close attention to placement, composition, and movement. Great creators just don't make videos. They command and guide attention to wherever they want it to be. Which shot do you like to use the most? Put them in the comments and let's talk about it. I'm going to leave a link to the content community in the description of this video. So if you have any questions and you want to be part of this community, I'd like you to follow that link. It's a Facebook group. Just send me a message and I will respond to you as soon as possible. This is Sam. Remember, the best time to create is now. Peace.